The Harmattan Haze. It descends every year, blanketing Lagos in a fine reddish dust. It's a season of dry air and cracked lips, but for me the Harmattan Haze always reminds me of my childhood. It's a sensory trigger, a portal back to those formative years. The sun struggles to pierce through the thick air, casting a soft golden light filtering through the dust particles, creating a nostalgic atmosphere. It's a filter that softens the edges of memory, blurring the harsh realities and highlighting the moments that linger. I remember standing by our compound gates in Ikoyi, a privileged enclave, yet I felt so isolated. The wrought iron was cold beneath my small hands. I spent hours watching other children play, their laughter echoing in the distance, a symphony of joy that I longed to join. Their games seemed so effortless, their connection so natural. But what I really watched, what truly captivated me, was their fathers coming home. The anticipation in the children's eyes, the quickening of their steps as they ran to greet them, the way a man would swing his child into the air, their faces alight with pure, unadulterated joy, the sheer physicality of the affection, the feeling of being lifted and safe, the way a small hand found a larger one, a gesture of comfort, of guidance, of belonging, a silent promise of protection and love. These were rituals I studied from a distance, like an anthropologist observing a foreign tribe. I analyzed every interaction, every nuance, trying to decipher the code of fatherhood. My own hands stayed in my pockets, clenched into fists, a futile attempt to contain the longing that threatened to consume me. The fabric offered little comfort, the ache in my chest unspoken, a constant companion, a dull, persistent throb that reminded me of what I lacked. It was a weight I carried in silence. My father was a good man, everyone said, a pillar of the community, a man of integrity and success. His reputation preceded him, a shining beacon of achievement, a provider, ensuring we had everything we could ever need, at least materially. Comfort and security were never in question. A pillar, someone others leaned on, sought advice from and respected. He carried the weight of responsibility with unwavering strength, a name that opened doors, a key to opportunities that others could only dream of. His influence was undeniable, his presence commanded respect. Our house was large, a testament to his success and my needs always met, or so it seemed from the outside. But within those walls, a different story unfolded. But what I craved was the simple legacy I saw outside, the intangible inheritance of love and connection, the everyday moments that built a bond, a shared glance, a silent understanding that passed between father and child, a language spoken without words, a knowing smile, a reassurance that everything was alright, a beacon of warmth in a confusing world, a hand to hold, a physical connection that grounded you, that told you you weren't alone. A simple gesture, yet so profound. The silence in his absence became my first language, a language of longing and unfulfilled desires. I learned to navigate the world in quiet solitude. At dinner, the seat at the head of the table was always empty, a constant reminder of his priorities, of where I stood in his world. I grew up tracing the shape of what was missing, the void that his absence created. It was like trying to complete a puzzle with a crucial piece missing, wondering what it would feel like to be whole, to be seen, to be held, to be truly known and loved by the man who was supposed to be my guide. I didn't have the words for it then, the vocabulary to articulate the complex emotions swirling within me. I was just a child, grappling with a profound sense of loss. I only knew something was missing, a fundamental piece of the puzzle of my life, leaving me feeling incomplete and adrift. Our house was a monument to my father's success, a sprawling testament to his ambition and drive. It stood tall, a beacon of prosperity in our corner of Lagos. The sheer size of it was overwhelming, a constant reminder of the world he had built for us, or perhaps the world he had built for himself. It was sprawling, filled with art and music, carefully curated to impress, but always echoing with silence. The expensive furniture seemed cold and untouched. The artwork hung like distant relatives, admired but not truly known. The music, when it played, only amplified the emptiness, a soundtrack to a life lived at a distance. My father's study was off limits, a forbidden zone in our own home. It was his world of phone calls and papers, of hushed conversations and urgent deals, a world closed to me, a world I could only glimpse from the other side of the heavy, imposing door. I imagined him in there, a titan wrestling with unseen forces, his brow furrowed, his voice sharp and commanding. I learned to live with the echoes. They became the soundtrack to my childhood, the constant hum of loneliness in a house too big for one small boy. They were my footsteps on marble, cold and resounding, the ever-present hum of the generator, a mechanical heartbeat ensuring the lights stayed on, the air conditioning kept running, and the illusion of normalcy remained intact. and the polite voices of staff, always differential, always careful not to intrude too much on the silence. They moved like ghosts through the house, tending to its needs but never truly filling it with life. My father was defined by his absence, a void that loomed large in every room, his scent lingering after he left for the airport, a phantom presence that faded with each passing day, a reminder of the connection I craved but rarely experienced. I invented stories about him, tales of daring and adventure, anything to make sense of his constant departures. He was a secret agent, a hero saving the world, a figure larger than life, anything but the man who couldn't make it to my school play. Because the truth was harder. The truth was a dull ache in my chest, a constant awareness of being second best. His work always came first, an unshakable priority that cast a long shadow over our family. My mother tried to fill the gap. Bless her heart, she did her best to be both parents, reading to me with voices and accents, taking me out for ice cream, trying to create memories that would last. But she couldn't be my father, and the absence remained a constant hollow space in our lives. So, I built a fortress around my heart, a protective barrier against the pain of disappointment. Brick by brick, I constructed walls of indifference, of stoicism, of self-reliance. With every missed birthday and forgotten promise, another brick was laid, another layer of protection added to my emotional fortress. It kept the pain at bay, numbed the sting of his absence, shielded me from the vulnerability of needing him. But it also kept the world out, prevented me from forming genuine connections, from experiencing the full spectrum of human emotion. Inside those walls, I was safe from disappointment, insulated from the sting of unmet expectations. But I was alone, trapped in a self-made prison of emotional detachment. The fortress served me well for years, a reliable defense against the perceived threats of the outside world. But it was a lonely place, a barren landscape devoid of warmth and connection. The echoes were my only company, the whispers of a life half-lived, a potential unfulfilled, and I longed for more, a life beyond the walls, a chance to break free from the echoes and discover what lay beyond. Childhood is a tapestry woven with vibrant threads of joy, anticipation, and sometimes a touch of disappointment. Among the many memories that linger, etched vividly in my mind, is the sports day from primary 4. It wasn't just another day at school. It was an event filled with dreams, expectations, and a yearning for a father's presence. The air crackled with excitement as we prepared for the races, the field buzzing with the energy of hundreds of children. I remember the hours of practice, the sweat, and the determination to excel. I ran the 100-meter dash for Yellow House, one of the school teams, pouring every ounce of my being into each stride. More than the glory of winning, I was hoping my father would see me win. He had promised he would be there, a promise that fueled my every step. The thought of him watching, cheering me on, was the ultimate motivation. As I stood at the starting line, heart pounding in my chest, I scanned the crowd, a sea of faces, a kaleidoscope of colors. I saw fathers lifting children onto their shoulders in celebratory gestures, their faces beaming with pride, sharing in their children's triumphs. I noticed fathers sharing water with their children, offering words of encouragement and support, a silent bond of love and admiration passing between them. I witnessed the pride shining in their eyes, a reflection of their children's efforts and achievements. It was a beautiful sight, a testament to the unwavering support and love that fathers provide. My mother cheered, her voice a familiar comfort in the bustling environment, but my eyes relentlessly searched for the one face that mattered, the one I had longed to see in the crowd. The whistle blew, signaling the start of the race. Adrenaline surged through my veins. I ran with everything I had, pushing my body to its limits, fueled by the hope that he was watching. I crossed the line first, a wave of elation washing over me. I had won, but the joy was short-lived, quickly replaced by a sinking feeling as I saw the empty chair beside my mother, the space where my father should have been. The victory felt hollow, the medal cold against my skin. The cheers of the crowd seemed distant and muted. My mother hugged me, her embrace warm and comforting, her voice filled with pride, but her pride couldn't fill the void, the emptiness left by my father's absence. That evening, as the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, my father called from abroad, his voice crackling through the phone line. "Congratulations, my boy," he said, his voice carrying a hint of regret. "I'm proud of you." The words were just words, hollow and insufficient, not the same as a cheer from the sidelines, a pat on the back, a shared moment of joy. That day I learned a bitter lesson. A promise could be broken, a commitment unfulfilled. The realization stung, leaving a mark that would take time to heal. Winning felt like losing when there was no one to share it with, no one to truly understand the effort and sacrifice that went into achieving that victory. In the years that followed, I slowly stopped expecting him to show up at important events. I stopped hoping for his presence, for the father-son moments that I had always dreamed of. The empty chair became a symbol, a constant reminder of absence, of broken promises, of unfulfilled expectations. And I carried it with me, a silent weight in my heart, a reminder of the day I learned that sometimes love and promises aren't enough. Nights were the hardest. I'd lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, questions swirling. Why was his work more important? Did he know me at all? Our conversations were brief, instructions to be a good boy. I wondered what other fathers talked about with their sons. Did they share secrets, teach them how to be men? I pieced together manhood from movies, books, and distant observations. The absence shaped me, made me observant, but also left me with a fear of inadequacy. I promised myself I'd be different, but I was terrified I'd repeat the cycle. The questions never got answers, but they set my course. As I grew, I saw the same pattern in my uncles and grandfather. Strong, respected, but emotionally distant. My father wasn't unique. He was shaped by a model of masculinity that valued stoicism and provision over affection. Love was measured in school fees and security, not hugs or bedtime stories. This realization softened my pain. He loved me, but in a language I didn't understand. I saw the cost: strained relationships, loneliness behind success. They built empires, but not bridges to their children. I knew I wanted a different legacy. I wanted to build bridges, not walls. University in America gave me distance and perspective. Therapy helped me give voice to the lonely boy by the gate, to the pain of the empty chair. Healing was slow, involving awkward conversations with my father. He didn't understand at first. I gave you everything. Everything but you, I replied. Gradually, he shared his own story, a childhood even more rigid, a father even more distant. He wasn't making excuses, just showing me the blueprint he'd inherited. Understanding his story helped me heal mine. Compassion replaced anger. I was freed to look forward, not back. When my wife told me we were expecting, joy and fear collided. Could I be the father I never had? The fear was real, but I chose to let it motivate me. I read, I asked, I talked to my wife about my hopes and fears. She anchored me. You are not your father. You will be a wonderful father. When our daughter was born, I vowed to be present for her and for myself. I learned to soothe her, to laugh with her, to be there every day. I was breaking the cycle, one small act at a time. The first months were exhausting but exhilarating. I was not a distant provider. I was an active participant. I was there, and I was healing too. Fatherhood became my chance to weave a new family tapestry. With my son's birth, I felt more confident. Fatherhood was about small, everyday moments. Our home became a place of open communication and connection. Dinner was for sharing the best and worst parts of our day. I wanted my children to see me as human, not just a patriarch. We created rituals, pancake Saturdays, park walks, bedtime stories over video calls when I traveled. The old programming sometimes tried to return, but I remembered my vow. I was raising the next generation with a new blueprint for love. I was weaving a cloth of presence and affection, and I hoped they'd wrap themselves in it for strength. Father passed away 2 years ago. In his final years, we found peace. He never became emotionally open, but he learned new ways to show love. You are a better father than I was, he once said. It was enough.